Hey guys, Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another episode review of the One Piece and our live action show, and we are on episode 4. And it is called The Pirates Are Coming. Again, this episode I thought was another good episode in the live action. The way they just did the episode was just really damn good and honestly gave a horror vibe of this episode, especially with Kuro basically chasing them. It definitely gave like a horror chase vibe in this episode. And they did a pretty cool job with it. And they, to be honest, they actually made Kuro more of a threat in the live action version than the anime version in the manga version, because in the anime and manga version, the fight basically took place outside over like a hilltop and everything, right? Here, you had it to where it takes place in the mansion. The mansion is basically locked in, and on top of it, you had it to where Luffy and Zoro weren't there. They were out of commission for a bit. And it's up to Usopp and Nami to protect Kaya for the time being, and really, it's just an escape mission to stay away from Kuro before he tries to kill Kaya. So, I honestly, I was really happy how they did this episode, and realistically, this episode, with the exception of a few differences, basically, you know, the, you know, it's really exactly the same. Now, the one thing is, obviously, you get the Kuro versus Luffy fight. You get Zoro going up against Butchie and the other chick, basically the two other members of the Black Cat Pirates. And then you mostly get Zoro's backstory. Now, it was interesting how they kind of presented it here. When maybe you can make the argument they could have did it during the fight against Hawkeye, right? So essentially, what you kind of have in this episode is cuts back and forth between the present versus Zoro, because we see him trying to climb out of the well and he's having trouble, and you obviously see his backstory again, which for any One Piece fan that doesn't know the Zoro backstory, him and Kuina make a promise to be the world's greatest swordsman, and she literally dies the next day after making that promise. Which I still find it absolutely hilarious the way she died, because apparently it's like, oh, she fell down some fucking stairs. So again, my headcanon is she fell down some stairs and she accidentally impaled herself on her sword or something like that, and she accidentally killed herself. But unless she fell down the stairs and she broke her fucking neck. But that still, that's one of the One Piece deaths for a backstory. I'm just like, huh? Like, it would have made a lot more sense. Like, oh, if honestly, if you could rewrite that, I wouldn't have it where, oh, she fell down some stairs. I'd just say like, oh, she got some like very bad illness that is uncurable, and she died due to it, and it was a rapid like spreading disease that killed her like in like basically like a week, and a week or two, or not actually, maybe like a month or two, because that way you could have shown them both training together, and then you can clearly tell like she's progressively getting weaker and she progressively has this thing and she is hiding it from Zoro. But it was Oda's doing. But I still just find it funny how, oh, she just died. Now, they don't really go in the anime version or in the live action version, they don't really go in depth of how, they don't show like her dying. They don't really go in depth. They just have her match say like, yeah, she's dead. So yeah, sorry, Zoro. So yeah, and then you obviously get her get that scene where he basically takes her sword and stuff like that, right? Oh yeah, so there's that. But realistically, the differences we see here is the fact that we actually have it to where the Navy actually arrives at Syrup Village, and you have it to where Helmeppo and Kobe are actually looking for Luffy, and this is during the time where Usopp's doing the pirates are here, the pirates are here, and people are telling bro, fuck off, you're lying. And this is when he runs in the Navy and he tells Kobe and Helmeppo. Now Helmeppo is kind of just like you in this episode, like, are you seriously gonna believe this guy? And Kobe's like, well, if he's saying pirates here, look, we gotta trust it, right? It's a lead. So they actually end up actually going up to Kuro and confronting him, right? Because they get the alert. Now Kuro has a meeting with the other Black Cat members, and they're telling they're what is it? They're telling they find Luffy obviously after eating the soup, which we find out is poison, right? Basically they essentially Kuro basically essentially is telling him, like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, can you not do this right now? The thing is, Nami was overstaying and everything, right? She essentially found Luffy, but then she overheard noise being made, or noise from one of the Black Cats coming in, so she hides in the thing. So she's hearing all this, right? And she's hearing their discussion and hearing the fact, like, oh no, now the clock is struck in 12. It's time to kill this girl, right? But essentially, they overhear the doorbell ring. So Kuro goes up to the door. It's Kobe and Helmeppo, and basically, Usopp's like, this is him. He's the pirate, and Kobe's like, what the heck? And Kobe's just trying to get answers out of Kuro, like, hey, what's going on here? Blah 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 blah. And obviously Kuro's playing it off the best way he can, but essentially he does say, like, well, if you don't prove my trust, here's Luffy. He was a very disrupted pirate, talking about all this other junk. So look, here you go. And they grab him, and obviously Helmeppo's like, all right, we got the dude we needed to go for. And I don't know why my PlayStation literally turned on, because I think I just heard my PlayStation turn on. Oh yes, it turned on. My PlayStation absolutely turned on. I don't know why it did that. Huh. You find out new things every day, huh? Anyways. Essentially, they turn Luffy over and basically they close the door, right? Now, Kobe's trying to get any more answers, but Kuro's like, no, I'm not having it. So, essentially what happens is, and this is one of the cool things I did like about the episode that added on to the element of, like I said earlier, this horror vibe, this scary vibe, this very serious situation where it's like, honestly, I was like, damn, are they actually going to maybe do something different as opposed to something, right? So we essentially have it to where they close up the entire mansion. So this mansion has like actual barricades, like barricading of the windows, barricading of the freaking front door. Now, also too, in the meantime, you do get that moment where Usopp is telling Kaya, hey, Clawdor is not a good dude. He's a pirate. He's Kuro, blah 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 blah. And obviously, you do get that moment where Kaya doesn't believe him. She hits him and basically says, you're sounding stupid, it was funny to hear your jokes and everything because I knew they weren't real, but it was always funny to hear these stories, but now you're just talking nonsense. You're scaring the shit out of me. But eventually, but see, here's the one thing I actually did like about a deviation from the change. Now, in the original source material, after Kaya basically tells him to go off, Usopp actually ended up leaving, right? Now, in the live action version, you have it to where even though Kaya said, I think you need to leave, Usopp actually in the live action version is like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna stay here till you know for a fact you're safe. And honestly, I think that was kind of one of the best things, or one of the better changes I actually like. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I definitely like the way how they handled the Syrup Village arc in the live action version more than the anime and manga version, because I think things just make more sense. And then too, they made Kuro a much more intimidating villain than the next guy. Also too, they also confirmed that Mary is dead. Like, we don't see Mary at the end of this episode. He is dead. So that was another deviation, a massive change that they made, because we know for the longest time in the original source material, Mary's still alive. They did not kill Mary off. He got attacked by Kuro and the others, but he didn't die. Here, no, he got killed. He straight up got killed. They said, like, oh no, he's dead. So I found it to be a pretty shocking revelation that they decided to absolutely go out with the okay, yeah, we're gonna kill it. We're just not even gonna worry about this guy. This dude's dead. So, but again, I just love the way how they handled the horror vibe in locking up everything, making it not leave where they're going. So eventually Nami comes in and she's like, hey, what the heck's going on? Or she's like, hey, we need to get out of here because they're trying to kill you. And Nami essentially, or Kaya's like, wait, what? You can't be telling the truth. And Nami is like, no, I'm 100% telling the truth. I overheard them talking and they're here to kill you, right? And then they make the mention about the tea, right? And you know how if you watched my last episode review, how I mentioned how the tea is blue? And Nami basically asked a question to Kai and said, like, hey, when exactly did you start getting this illness or start feeling sick? Like, were you feeling fine before, Kuro was here? Started to take care of you? And she was like, hey, and that was kind of the whole thing, because Nami was like, hey, when you started getting very ill and sick, were you like in this state before, obviously Clawdor came, or was this always a thing? And eventually Kaya puts two and two together and realizes, oh shit, I wasn't sick before Clawdor came here. And they realized that the freaking tea was absolutely, of course, poison that was actually killing her off slowly but surely, but getting her sick to the point. And it's like I said, like, I don't know why some sort of fucking tea is blue. Like, again, this is my whole stance. If you are ingesting something, or if you're looking at something, or you're looking at something, whether it's in food or a drink, and it don't look like the way it probably should be looking, 9 out of 10 times, that more than likely is not what it says it is. Like, now look, well, I know we got blue Powerade and blue drinks and things like that, but like, look, if tea is blue, I already know that shit's poison, because ain't no way I don't see no blue tea. Typically tea is brown. So if you see another color of a drink, like a coffee or, a freaking tea or something like that, or it ain't nothing what it says it is. Right? So there's that, right? There's that. Anyways. Because of this, you kind of get a chase scene right there where, what is it? Where it's Nami, Usopp, and Kaya trying to run from Kuro. Now, what they're trying to do is, due to Kaya's knowledge of the house, they're trying to get to her parents' house, and essentially, essentially open up, or basically, there's another like hatch that can release the locks of the house. So they go that. Now, there is one part where it is a scary scene where obviously Kuro, and again, they shot it so great where Kuro's just like, oh, Miss Kaya. And, he's obviously like, and I think the best part too is when they're in the actual parents' room and he clearly knows that, like, what is it? He essentially, is like basically, talking shit. Now, before this, Kaya, you can clearly tell Kaya's pissed. She's like, I can't believe I've been deceived like this. Like, I actually thought he actually cared about me and shit like that. And obviously Nami's like, hey, look, you need to stay calm. Look, we'll deal with this when the time comes, right? So when you get the moment where he actually ends up getting into the parents' room, because eventually they can tell, like, oh, they're releasing the locks, right? Essentially, he goes in there and they're hiding. And essentially he's taunting her, basically trashing her parents and everything to get her to come out. And she does come out, and he's like, well, good, that makes things easier. But then it divulges into Usopp trying to do his best to protect Kaya, but all for nothing. Now, in the meantime, Zoro does end up get out of the well, and just in time, he runs into Kobe and the others. And essentially, thanks to Luffy throwing up the poison soup on Helmeppo, which was very funny, they basically managed to go free. Now, there was a confrontation between Luffy and Kobe where Luffy's like, nope, look, you gotta let me go to go save my friends. And I understand what you're trying to do is your job, and it's the right thing to do, but look, I'm here to try to save my friends. So, you know what, buddy? If you're gonna try to stop me, just be known there's gonna be consequences, and you're gonna get this ass whooping. Which again, that was one of those early stage things where I loved about One Piece, and again, it makes the Luffy Kobe dynamic in the relationship even stronger, because it's like Kobe knows that Luffy is a good guy, and even though he knows he's a pirate, he knows he doesn't mean no harm. He's a good guy that just wants to have some fun. But at the end of the day, he also knows, like, well, this is my job. My job is I gotta bring in a pirate. I gotta bring in a pirate. So it's only gonna be only crazy, especially when that whole thing in the anime is gonna get enhanced and stuff like that. So it was a nice moment, because it's like Luffy saying, like, all right, dude, you know now it's time, like, okay, we're enemies now, so it's either you let me go or I'm just gonna have to kick your ass. And obviously Kobe does the right thing and lets them go. So they basically get into the house. You have it to where you get the fight between Zoro and the Black Cat pirates. The fight was cool. That's again when he's doing the flash, but still doing the flashbacks with him and Kuina. But again, that whole fight, the way they handled it was pretty cool. I definitely did like it, right? I will actually say this though. Like, I was absolutely floored when I saw Butchie wear the fucking outfit. And again, in the anime and the manga, it's funny the way he looks because it's cartoonish. But like, when you see this shit in live action, like, okay, the girl, the other one, all right, fine. I guess that's acceptable, right? But when you see this man wear that outfit, bro, you couldn't take this dude serious. I'm just like, hey, props to them for keeping 100% accuracy. But like, and there's one thing Butchie's costume could have done. They could have changed it, because you get one scene, especially early on in the episode, where he finally puts on that costume and he's got the two knives, and he's doing like a king, king, king type of thing where he's scraping the knives against each other, and I'm just like, I can't take this dude fucking seriously. But honestly, we know that Luffy and Zoro ends up beating the Black Cat pirate members. Then Luffy has his matchup against Kuro, who shows him the nick of time before he's about to kill Kaya. And basically, again, you just have it to where Kuro, who's using his the super speed technique. I'm not gonna say on the damn thing because you know what I'm talking about, right? And essentially, Kuro's basically antagonizing Luffy, saying like, "You're getting my fucking plans. Like, it's stupid how you think you can become king of the pirates and things like that." And Luffy's basically saying, like, "Dog, it sounds like you gave up on your dream. Like, the goal of being a pirate is to have fun and have adventure and go out there and have a great journey. You clearly somewhere lost along the way because you're more worried about your own selfish desires." So the fight was pretty cool. I definitely did enjoy the fight. They definitely did change it in some ways a bit, but regardless, it was still kind of the same type of thing. So yeah, and then obviously Luffy using the Gum Bell attack. Now we do see the resolution to Kuro. We just see him like on a freaking paddle boat, just basically paddling away off Syrup Village. Now, the thing is this, like, okay, if he was still alive and he was still within the vicinity of the island, why did he just not go back and just kill fucking Kaya, knowing that, oh, but maybe then again, he probably thought like, okay, I can't deal with these guys. These dudes are probably going to be there, right? So yeah. But essentially, after the day is saved, after they defeated Kuro, essentially, Kaya gives them the ship Mary, and that's when they obviously name it the Going Mary and things like that. And then that's when Luffy tells Usopp, like, hey, come on, let's go. And Usopp's like, wait, what? And then Luffy's like, yeah, come on, join the crew, come on. And obviously Usopp's like, I don't know, man, I gotta stay here, and then two, I gotta take care of Kaya. I want to make sure she's okay, because technically now you can make the case Kaya has nobody to look after. Also, to another change in the live action as opposed to the anime version is the fact that we don't see the three kids from the anime and the manga that end up hanging out with Kaya, who were friends in the group of Usopp, right? They changed that and they completely omitted them from the story, right? So regardless, now also another change is in the goodbye from Usopp to Kaya, you absolutely, and I think I referenced this too, you see it to where Kaya as she kisses Usopp. Now, in the live action version, I ain't gonna lie, the kissing was the kiss was kind of weak. Like it felt like the two actors, or it felt like the Kaya actress, again, I'm not implying that, but it felt like the Kaya actress didn't want to do the kiss, or it felt like, I'm just like, what the hell? And it was funny because Luffy's like, he does know I'm the captain, and Nami and Zoro like, dude, because they know the situation, right? They're like, dude, just let him have this moment, please, because the man's kissing the girl that he likes, right? So they definitely changed it because in the original source material, Kaya did not kiss Usopp goodbye. Here, it basically, see, if you needed any more confirmation that Usopp and Kaya by Endgame, or by the end of the series will be Endgame and they will be a thing, and most importantly, they will be a couple, or most importantly, that shows like they both like each other, or the fact that Kaya actually does like Usopp more than just a friend. She likes him, right? This scene only proves it right then and there. Like, the difference is Kai actually kisses Usopp to not only wish him goodbye, but also too to say like, I love you, I'll see you again soon. So it's like, I was pleasantly surprised that when I watched this for the first time, I was like, oh shit, I did not expect a kiss. But our boy Usopp got the girl and got a kiss, and he's joining the crew. So they're hanging out, enjoying lives. They do get this nice moment where where Luffy and Usopp are arguing over who's captain and shit, and you just have it where Nami's laughing about that, and everything. And again, the reason why she's laughing is because obviously she knows, like, again, we know at this point she hates pirates, but she's laughing at this because it's like she's laughing at these two goofballs are bickering with each other, but it's the fact that she's realized she's going close to them, and she's making friends with Zoro, Usopp, and Luffy, and she's actually getting comfortable around them, and they're getting her out of her shell, and she's actually enjoying herself, and she's actually clearly saying like, maybe these guys are not that bad. So it was a very nice detail to see Nami like just absolutely just be the first one to burst out laughing, because it's like, this is setting the path of like, okay, she's clearly now seeing like, I have some pretty good friends here, right? So there's that. But the episode basically ends off in a way where, again, it's another twist from the original source material, where Garp was there, and Koby tells Garp like, hey, I'm sorry I let him go. And obviously, Garp's like, it's all right, that's fine, because guess what? They gotta leave, and we're gonna wait. So, and clearly they see their ship. He starts throwing clearly the oh man, he clearly starts throwing the cannonballs. Oh man, sorry guys, I'm tired, bro. It's late. And basically the episode ends off where Luffy looks through the telescope and he's like, Grandpa? And obviously Zoro, Nami, and Usopp are like, Grandpa, and that's where the episode ends off, going into next week. Or going into the next episode 5. But anyway, it's a great episode. It was cool to see the small minute changes that they decided to do for this arc. And honestly, again, like I said, before I'll say it again, honestly, I think the live action version of Silver Village arc absolutely is way better than the Silver Village arc in the manga and the anime. But it's up to everybody has their own opinion. So I'm not gonna judge you if you like the anime or the manga version over the live action version. But anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content or any other anime content that I upload to the channel. I know they said that the Elbaf arc for One Piece in the anime is gonna start on April 5th. So I'm catching up my best on Egghead. Well, right now, literally getting to the final battles of Wano, and then Egghead, and then you'll get my reviews of Egghead till we get to the up-to-date stuff. So yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna go over because obviously you can tell I'm damn near barely keeping my eyes open. I want to call it night because I got to get up early tomorrow morning and go to an event. But anyways, I'm gonna go out for guys. Catch you guys again, or yeah, catch you guys later. Till then, guys, I'm so tired. Damn it, I'm so tired. Till then, guys, stay safe over there. Have a great rest of your day or your night, and watch out this video, and I will catch you guys later. Till then, guys, peace.